bloating after every meal, an energy crash you can't push through. Most people blame the last thing they ate, but research shows the real story runs deeper. It's the microbial community living inside your gut, quietly shaping everything from your cravings to your mood to how clearly you think. And here's what surprises most people. When you stop hammering your gut with ultra-processed foods and start feeding it real fiber and fermented foods, measurable changes in your gut bacteria can begin within about 24 to 48 hours. It doesn't take months or years. In this video, we're breaking down exactly what happens inside your gut during those first days and weeks, and how to start turning it around without cleanses or expensive supplements. Most gut resets fail for one simple reason. They focus on flushing things out instead of rebuilding the diverse bacteria that actually keep your digestion, immunity, and energy stable. Today, we're going to walk you through what realistically happens inside your gut over 30 days when you stop feeding it ultra-processed foods and start flooding your microbes with fiber-rich plants and fermented foods. What begins to shift in the first 24 hours. Why some bacteria start thriving while others slowly starve without their favorite fuel source. And the mistake that makes a lot of people feel worse in the first week, even when they're doing the right things. Because the most powerful changes don't happen during a 3-day cleanse. They happen in the days and weeks after, when your gut finally gets what it needs to remodel itself from the inside out. But before we peel back the layers, make sure you're subscribed to The Wellness Method so you never miss a video about the science and strategy that actually works for your body. For most of us, it isn't one bad meal that wrecks our gut. It's the pattern. Studies have shown that in the US, up to 60% of the calories most people consume come from ultra-processed foods, sugary drinks, and low-fiber meals. That pattern feeds the disruptive microbes that love sugar and refined starch, and slowly starves the bacteria that thrive on fiber and complex plant foods. Over time, the ecosystem in your gut shifts. Diversity drops, your gut lining has to work harder to protect you, and low-grade inflammation becomes the norm. You feel bloated, tired, foggy, and stuck with the same pattern of cravings on repeat. The exciting part is how quickly this can start to reverse. In controlled studies, scientists can detect changes in microbial activity within hours of a dietary shift. When you make that shift, the microbes in your gut begin to adapt almost immediately, which is why these next 30 days matter more than any 3-day cleanse. Week 1 isn't about becoming perfect overnight. It's about getting the biggest roadblocks out of the way so your gut can actually respond. For this first stretch, think subtraction. You're pulling back on ultra-processed foods, the grab-and-go snacks, pastries, and fast food that make up those mindless meals. You're swapping sugary drinks and energy drinks for water, herbal tea, or unsweetened options. And you're cutting alcohol as much as you can, especially that automatic nightly drink that has become a habit. You don't have to nail it perfectly, but you do want to send a clear message to your microbiome that the menu has changed. In the first 24 to 48 hours, cravings might flare. Energy may swing. Bowel movements might shift. That's your gut noticing the menu changed. None of that means you're failing. It means it's working. Now that you've reduced ultra-processed foods, week 2 is where you start gently reseeding the system. You're not going straight to a shelf full of supplements. Instead, you're using everyday foods that carry live microbes and compounds that can actively shift your gut ecosystem. The goal this week is simple. Get 1 serving of a fermented food with live cultures into your day. That might be plain yogurt or kefir with active cultures, a couple of forkfuls of sauerkraut or kimchi, or a low-sugar kombucha. Start off slow with the fermented foods. And if that first serving sits well, you can build up to 2 or even 3 small servings spread across the day by the end of the week. Research shows that increasing fermented foods can meaningfully improve gut diversity and reduce inflammatory markers in just a few weeks. You might notice digestion starting to feel a bit more predictable as your gut adjusts. You might also notice extra gurgling or gas the first few days. That just means your gut is responding. By week 3, you've stopped pouring fuel on the fire, and you've started inviting the good microbes into your gut. Now the job is to feed them properly and support the gut lining itself. This is where fiber and plant diversity really step in. Instead of obsessing over the perfect macro ratio, aim to work your way up toward roughly 25 to 30 grams of fiber per day from whole foods. If you don't already consume much fiber, just a few extra grams per day to give your body time to adjust. Week 3 is when the good microbes start fermenting that extra fiber into short-chain fatty acids that help nourish your colon cells, build up your gut barrier, and keep inflammation in check. Your gut lining also gets a chance to turn over at least once by now, assuming you've removed major irritants. You may notice less bloating, more regular bowel movements, a bit more stable energy, and maybe even subtle shifts in mood. Movement and consistent sleep matter here too. Regular physical activity increases microbial diversity, and poor sleep has been shown to shift your gut bacteria toward more inflammatory strains within just 2 days. By week 4, the foundation is laid. You've already done the hard part. You've shifted from resetting your microbiome to this being your new normal eating pattern. At this point, your microbiome is still adaptable. If you go straight back to your old ultra-processed pattern, it will drift back with you. So this week is about stabilization and making the whole thing feel sustainable. Instead of adding 10 new rules, you shrink everything down to a few non-negotiables. Maybe it's one fermented food every day. Maybe it's a plant-heavy plate at least once a day. Maybe it's a short walk after dinner. Make it effortless where you can. When you cook, make enough to eat 2 meals. Have a couple of breakfasts and lunches you can throw together quickly in the morning. Notice which specific changes seem to give you the biggest payoff. Less bloating, fewer crashes, better sleep, and make those your personal anchor habits going forward. By day 30, you're not chasing perfection. You're looking at the before and after. Is your digestion lighter and more predictable than when you started? Do you still get the same brutal post-meal crashes, or have they softened? Are you a little less reactive, a little clearer, a little more in control of your cravings? This doesn't mean your gut is completely fixed in 30 days, but it does mean is that you've changed the environment your microbes live in a way your body can feel. You've proven to yourself that your gut is a living ecosystem that responds to what you do consistently. Before we finish, here are the 3 things that make most people quit right when their gut is actually starting to change. Feeling more bloated or gassy for a few days on a higher fiber, whole food diet doesn't automatically mean it's bad for you. Often it just means your microbes are suddenly being asked to ferment more fiber and new foods, and they need time to adjust. The fix is usually to slow the changes, not to give up. You also don't need detox teas or harsh cleanses to flush toxins. Your liver and kidneys already do that job around the clock. What this 30-day reset is really doing is taking pressure off your system and finally giving your gut the kind of food and routines it needs to repair and rebalance. No single probiotic pill will undo years of habits. For most people, the big levers are still what you eat, how you move, how you sleep, and how stressed you are. Supplements can amplify good habits, but they can't substitute for them. Once you see it this way, your 30-day reset isn't a magic cleanse. It's a controlled experiment. You're changing the environment inside your body so your microbes can start working for you instead of constantly fighting your routine. If you want more science, strategy, the stuff that actually works, make sure you're subscribed to the Wellness Method. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.